I'm not going to waste any time in this video. I'm just going to get right into it. So, if you have a sibling, if you have a cousin, a good friend that for family lives with you, for a friend might live in your area, and you guys both play on the same basketball team, or you just both love the sport and you're trying to make a team, trying to get better. If you're lucky enough to have this, and you are lucky, be grateful for that, because I know for me and for a lot of people I know, growing up, most of the work they did, most of the time they put into the sport was by themselves, or it was just at the practices and games they would play in. Now, as a player, your job, your role on your team, it doesn't end when your practice ends. It doesn't end when the buzzer sounds. It is a nonstop thing that goes on from the first day of your season to the last day. Then the off season starts. And at that point, you have just as much of a responsibility to improve as a player, as an athlete. To your teammates, you have a responsibility, to your coach, to get ready for the next season. Now, that doesn't go for anyone who is just playing the sport for fun. If that's how you look at it, that's how you approach it, that's fine. But this isn't going to relate to you. So stop watching at this point if that's your only involvement in the game. For those of you who do more than just play it, that study it, that have this sport as a passion, as an escape in your life, if it really means something to you, then pay attention. So if you're lucky enough to have a best friend or a sibling that you guys play in the same team, whatever, realize this. If you guys can communicate with each other effectively, honestly, train together in your free time, things like that, and this goes especially for brothers. I know that a lot of people on the Butler's Better Basketball Instagram page, a lot of the followers I have on there, and a lot of the players that I've coached when I had my 8th grade and 9th grade rise above AAU teams that I coached, I had 2 sets of twins in my spring season and 2 sets of twins in my fall season. Especially for twins, you guys have a family member, blood relative, that you get to be on the same team as. Be grateful for that. Be grateful, for that opportunity. If you guys can just push each other to get better, be honest with each other, really study the game, whether it's your game film, have one of your parents, have your cousin film the game, hire a videographer, type on your Weymouth, I'm from Weymouth, everything Weymouth, your town page that you want to hire a videographer to do a weekend's work. Save up your money doing chores, whatever it is. If you're a kid, if you're a little bit older, you have a job, save up that money, get your game film, study it together, be honest with each other. Now, if you don't feel like going that far, to kind of circle back a little bit, use that friend, use that sibling as a resource. Now, I know I'm a little bit all over the place. I know some of this stuff sounds vague or scrambled, but there's a lot of information that I want to get out. And there's a quote by Vince Lombardi, and it says, or he says, "The difference between good and great is that it's just a minuscule amount from being a good player who, yeah, he was good, he contributed to the team, he led us a few times, and being great. Being great is being remembered. It's leaving an impact. And being great isn't scoring 40 points. It isn't necessarily getting 25 rebounds, a double-double any game. It's not that. Being great can be being a leader. Now, there are plenty of examples that I will not list right now of leaders who were not the leading scorers, who were not the most skilled players. Oftentimes, they are not the most skilled guys or the biggest scorers. If you can make your teammates better, if you can support your friends, your brother, your sister, whoever it is, to be better, it will in turn make you a better player. If you think that scouts or coaches, whoever's watching you play these games, if you think the only thing they care about is points, assists, whatever, then the recruiting process would be so much different. College basketball, wherever you're trying to get to, the players that would be in there would be so much different. The styles would be different. A team doesn't want 8 guys that can score 20. They want potentially 3 guys that can score 20, 3 guys who are going to get rebounds, 2 phenomenal defenders, a few good leaders, someone who will just pass first, get assists, get their teammates going, and those are the kind of people that players want to play with. So, to circle back to how lucky you are to have, let's call them a family member on your basketball team, take full advantage of that. You don't know how lucky you are, especially if you're at a young age. Whether you're middle school, high school, you're still young. You don't know how lucky you are to have that. Study the game. Push each other. Be honest with each other. Don't make it some sibling rivalry BS. Yes, push each other to get better. If you're playing one-on-ones after your training session, after your practice, then be competitive. If it's a rivalry in that aspect, fine, that's great. But never look at it as, oh, I'm playing more than my brother. I'm getting more points than my brother. No. If you put them down, you do not improve. It lessens your familial bond. It lessens your bond as a teammate. It weakens them, and in turn, it will weaken you. Man, I really wish that me and my brother could have been on the same team. And he played some different sports. He played basketball too, but whether it was basketball, soccer, track, I wish we could have been on the same team, because I know it would have been a ton of fun and we would have pushed each other to be so much better. So my main point that I'm trying to make here is, don't take that for granted. When practice ends, when games end, don't stop talking about it. Come together to try to take over together. Because if one of you succeeds, you can both succeed. And remember, succeeding isn't just scoring 30 points. It's being an impact player. It's improving your game. It's getting to the next level, wherever you want to be. Varsity, college player, to be a captain, Bay State games, AAU, whatever, MVP, whatever it is, okay? Use your friends, your siblings, the people around you to build yourself up, and in turn, build them up.